story really starts going back actually a couple generations, and it's really unique in how it goes to revival. So share that with us. Share your story and how it really related to revival, because it's pretty cool.
Yeah. There's a story as related. There's a young shaman, and she is the spiritual leader of a village I think about 50 miles north of Pyongyang, in a small village called Yeongmi. And she was the leader of the tree shrine, and that's where the people in the village worshipped. But she lost her first two children when they were young, and so she got so mad at the tree shrine, she cut it down and defecated on it. I mean, I just imagine like angry Korean woman, just you let me down, and that's a dangerous thing to let
a Korean woman down.
So she was so angry that happened, and I sort of imagine her then. She's like sort of sitting near the tree and just mad, just stewing in that. And kind of at the time, a missionary meets her. This is a missionary who like has just experienced the Pyongyang revivals and is sent north from the revivals as a missionary. And this missionary meets this young shaman and tells her that there's God has come to her, there's Jesus, and that you can believe in him, that he is the forgiver of sins and he can be the savior and leader of your life. And she goes, she becomes a follower of Jesus at that point. And then what she does is then, because she becomes a Christian, basically almost the whole village becomes Christian, and she plants the first church in this community. That shaman is my great-great-grandmother. And then my great-grandfather sort of was a leader in that church. My grandparents met at that church. My dad was infant baptized in this church since he was born in the north part of Korea. It wasn't North Korea at the time, but geographically now it's North Korea. And from that point, right, so that's my heritage. I'm a spiritual generation descendant of the Pyongyang revivals. And didn't know this until like as I was writing the book. That
really?
Sort of came to me. I didn't know the story at all. Wasn't planning. I just thought the way we found out about it was crazy, actually. So I've already written most of the book with Ryan, and I'm looking for an epilogue. And I'm thinking my family story is connected to Pyongyang. Almost every Protestant Korean story is connected to Pyongyang in some way. So I'm just assuming my family has a story. I hadn't yet figured out what that story was. So then I was talking to my dad, and I said, so Dad, how are we connected to Pyongyang revivals? And he goes, we're not, And I went, what? I almost looked at him funny. He said it so like, certainly we're not connected to it at all. And I'm like, you don't know what you're talking about. So this is me talking to my dad. So I go, Dad, can you like call our family and find out if we have a connection? Because I don't believe you. I mean, we're Protestants, so there's got to be some connection to this thing. So then he gets on the phone and starts calling his family. And that's where he finds out this story for the first time. He's in his 70s. Yeah, he's in his 70s when he's heard the first story for the first time. So he couldn't wait to tell me. And, and it was amazing. So both of us heard the story around the same time and this history. And my family was surprised that my dad didn't know because he's the firstborn son. Yeah. I'm the firstborn son of the firstborn son of the firstborn son, right? So it's sort of, we are the leaders of our family's generation, right? That generation in our family. So he didn't know about it, but now, so it was encouraging to him. And so then to hear like the stories of church plants in our family, my grandfather, then as he had to run from the communists, and he escapes from what is now known as North Korea in this really Hollywood-like story, using his wits, getting his family across the river. There's so much to tell about that. Then ends up in Busan, the southern coast of Korea, and there plants a church, which still exists today. And then goes up to Seoul a few years later with his friends. They planted another church there. That still exists today, right? And then my dad, sort of as he immigrates to America, Arkansas, Chicago, then does up Seattle, helps a fledgling church plant there, gives birth to me, and then I get to be a part of a couple church plants. So it's this crazy way that the Lord has sort of given us an inheritance. There's a legacy that's been passed down, and we had no idea. But once we heard the stories, we're like, oh, that kind of makes sense, right?
Wow.
Such a deep Christian heritage in our family.